Good morning. Welcome to First Universalist Society in Franklin. I am Allison Flanagan, a member of the worship committee, and I'm glad you're here. As we gather this morning, I hope you find solace and rest, rejuvenation and connection, a moment of peace, and the strength to carry on. Wherever you have been this week, whether your heart is light or heavy, whoever you are, whoever you love, be present and welcome. If you're visiting this morning, we're especially glad you're here. Sign the guest book in the foyer, which you probably already did, or you can do afterwards, or in Zoom. And please gather after service for snacks and coffee in the Fellowship Cafe. And now let's join our hearts and minds together as we gather for worship. And we're going to try to make this bowl work. Yep. Not messing around. And now we're going to do the chalice lighting. So, Jackson, are you lighting the chalice? I am. Okay. Each Sunday morning, we share in a centering ritual with Unitarian Universalists around the world, the lighting of a chalice. As Rev Bev lights the chalice, here are the words of Karishma Gottfried. Each of us was created in the image of love. Wherever we come from, wherever we're going, whoever we are, whomever we love, we proclaim with love on our side. Our bodies are sacred, our minds are blessed. Our spirits are beloved. May we be open to receive more love, always more love. Please remain seated, and we are going to sing the unison affirmation, which will be in the front of the gray hymnal, hopefully.
Good morning. I'm Rev Bev, and I have the honor of serving this congregation as interim minister. I welcome all of you gathered here and all of you on Zoom this morning. Week after week, we gather in this space, a sanctuary made sacred by our presence here. We gather to find fellow travelers on paths towards spiritual and personal growth. We gather to celebrate all that we are and all that we have to offer the world. We gather because we need one another. We gather to hear each other's stories. We gather, members of the LGBTQI+ community and allies. We gather, united by faith and bound by love, living and working together to make our worlds here at FUSF, in Franklin and surrounding communities, and everywhere we go, safer and more welcoming for all. Please rise as you are able and join me in the first hymn. It's number 118 in the gray hymnal, This Little Light of Mine.
That's one of my favorites. Favorite songs. Good morning. My name is Diana Testney, and I am the Director of Religious Education here at First Universalist Society in Franklin. And I would like to invite the children to come to the front if you would like to. And some of you are already in the front. So great to see you all here today on this beautiful June morning. Are you shooing your dad away? Like, hey, Dad, this is for kid. So today we are welcoming new members to our community. It's so exciting when we have new people that join us. And we are also celebrating the fact that we are a welcoming congregation who loves to welcome everyone, no matter who they are. So we're going to, after I tell the story, we're going to go out for a little while, and then we're going to come back in when it's time for the new members to be introduced, because I want you all to meet them. So we're going to hang out and see who they are, so that you'll know their names and you'll know who they are, and we can welcome them along with everybody else. Here is a story that I wrote about welcoming. Once upon a time, wild ponies roamed free on an island. They ate the salty seagrass and they ran on the sandy beaches. The shady pine forests of the island kept the ponies cool in the summer and sheltered them from the winter storms. The ponies grew long, shaggy fur and long, wild manes, and they were spotted with many colors. One day, the ponies were playing on the beach, and they saw a horse that they didn't know come out of the woods. This horse looked different from them. He was brown all over, and he did not have a shaggy coat. He just had fuzzy feet. Maybe you've seen these kind of horses with fuzzy feet. He was also much bigger than the other ponies. But when he saw the ponies, he hunched down and tried to make himself seem small, and he tried to shrink back into the woods. "Hello, hello, don't go," called the ponies. "You are new. You are welcome here. What do you need?" The horse stood stiffly and fearfully as the ponies surrounded him. They snuffled each other, and the big horse could see that the ponies were friendly, so he could tell them his story. "I lived in a barn over on that island," said the big horse, "but my people went away, and they didn't come back. I don't know why. I got hungry, and I smelled the good grass over here, and so I swam over. But I'll go away now, if this is your place. I don't want to be a bother." "You are welcome to stay here and be a part of our herd," said the ponies. "Although there were some of us that have lived on this island for a long time, some of us have only come here recently. Some also lived among people once, but that was a long time ago. We are wild and afraid of people now." "People are generally helpful," said the big horse, "but I think I would like to stay with you. Thank you for welcoming me to your herd." "We have learned," said the leader of the ponies, "that everyone who comes to our herd brings something useful to us." Before long, the big horse was a part of the pony herd, and he did all of the things that the ponies did. He wondered what he had brought that was useful, because it seemed like his new pony friends were mostly being useful to him, showing him where the good grasses grew and where the fresh water flowed, helping him get used to sleeping outside instead of sleeping in a warm barn. Soon, the horse grew shaggy all over, not just on his feet, and he looked just like a really, really, really big pony, a really big pony. He forgot about living among people and became wild like them, and many years passed. One winter, the ponies began to get sick. Some of them died. Only the horse did not get sick. And he started to remember that when he lived among people, there had been a kind lady who had come to the barn once when he had been sick, and that after her visit, he had recovered. He had begun to recover. "We need to get help. We must find people to help us," he told the ponies. "I will go and find them." So the horse swam back to the island where he had once lived, and he walked right into the middle of town and stood in the middle of the street. And people were surprised to see a big, huge, shaggy pony, they thought, standing in the middle of their street. Police cars came to try to catch the horse, but he ran away and ran down to the beach and jumped in the water and started swimming back towards the pony island. And the people thought, oh, must have just been a big old wild pony somehow that came over. And they started to go home. But then the horse jumped back out of the water and ran around again, and the people tried to catch him. And he kept doing this until they finally figured out, it took people a while to figure this out, but they figured out, hey, maybe the horse wants us to follow him. So they followed him in their boats, and he led them right to the herd of sick ponies. And when they saw them, they called on their radios right away for a veterinarian to come. And it was the same lady who had helped the horse get well when he had been sick. Oh, I know you, she said as she started taking medicines out of her bag. You were brave to come and get help for your friends. Soon all of the ponies, were well again. Some of the people wanted to take the horse back to the people island, but the vet could tell that he wanted to stay with his friends, so she decided that she would come every year to check on the ponies and make sure that they were healthy. You saved us all, said the ponies to the horse. We know that everyone brings something good and useful to our herd. That is why we welcome all who come. Please join me in singing the children out to their class.
I invite you into a time of prayer and meditation. When the Welcoming Congregation program first emerged, it focused on gay, lesbian, and bisexual people. Much of the focus was to identify and eliminate homophobia. And the curriculum involved definitions and invited participants to explore their reactions to the material. And it was a good first step. Since then, an expansion into transgender, queer, questioning, and essentially all of who we are, all of who we love, and how we express our gender identities has been included in the workshops, worship services, and welcoming congregation explorations in whatever forms that they take. There is still work to be done here at FUSF and in the wider community. There are still places where laws are being passed, books are being banned, school curriculums are being outlawed, people are being harassed, and worse, solely because of their identities. Allies of all identities are vital to this work, vital to the protection of our LGBTQI+ people of all ages. My prayer today is for our queer kids, queer in however they define themselves. Kids at FUSF, kids in our lives, kids we have yet to meet. May you be surrounded by allies. May you know people who love you fiercely, not despite who you are, but because of who you are. May you know that you are loved and lovable. May you feel down to your bones that you and your life is sacred and beautiful. You, my dear ones, are a blessing to us all. You are wonderful and magnificent just as you are. You are enough, and we need you. Amen, and blessed be. Our special music today was written in 1949 for the musical South Pacific, and it was controversial then for its commentary on race relations. Some may still find some of the words controversial today. There's a line about the physical appearance of people who are different from most of us here in this room. What we ask of you is that you focus on the overarching theme of this very powerful song.
You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made, and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught.
I'd like to invite Caitlin McDonald up to share a reflection.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Caitlin McDonald, and I use she, her pronouns. When I was in high school, one of my favorite musical groups was the Indigo Girls, and one of my favorite lines of lyrics was from their song, Watershed. The lyrics go, "Every 5 years, I look back on my life and laugh." In the case of my journey as an ally, it's more like every 5 years, I look back on my life and cringe. I was raised by bleeding heart liberal parents. They proudly told stories of their attendance at protests in the late 60s and emphatically denounced right-wing politicians and public figures. In college, my mother gasped in horror when I told her I was dating someone who was pro-life. Though my parents' influence was a major part of what brought me to Unitarian Universalism, I must admit that they missed the mark on educating me about gender and sexuality diversity. Every summer, when I was a child, my dad brought me to Provincetown, where I quietly puzzled over the same-sex couples and transgender people. Unfortunately, I knew, even at the very young age I was, that to ask questions was taboo. My mother was more open about answering my questions, but the words lesbian and gay were always whispered. I'm ashamed to admit that in high school, I thought of the openly gay and gender expansive students as others, strange and unattractively brazen with their pride. It wasn't until college that I developed genuine friendships with members of the LGBTQ+ community and really understood that they were marginalized and needed allies. My college self thought back to my high school self and cringed. Despite this enlightenment, I still felt uncomfortable as an ally and tended to avoid contentious conversations. Fast forward to adulthood. When I became a mother, I wanted nothing more than for my children to grow up being loved for who they truly are, and above all else, to become kind and compassionate people. This is how we ended up at FUSF, where love is the center of all we do. Making connections with congregants from the LGBTQ+ community, participating in social justice initiatives, and listening to many eloquent and spirit-provoking sermons have developed my empathy. I realized that being an ally is a journey of sorts, and that I still have a long way to go. What has truly sculpted me, though, is what my children have taught me. As members of the LGBTQ+ community, staunch allies, and also representatives of a generation of people who intrinsically understand gender and sexuality at a level much higher than I do, I have learned that being an ally goes beyond showing up for Pride Day and putting an ally sticker on my board in my classroom. My children truly walk the talk. They openly and actively condemn the disrespectful treatment of other LGBTQ+ students in their school communities and vehemently support their LGBTQ+ friends. They scoff at the phrase, just a phase. They are not afraid of contentious conversations with folks of any age, status, or relationship to them. They share their pronouns and sexuality with ease and pride. However, what I respect the most is the grace they grant me and all of the other well-intentioned adults they meet who are still working at being allies. All three of my children casually and patiently correct my pronouns and accidental use of dead names. They're tactful in addressing well-meaning adults' inadvertent gendering or proliferation of stereotypes. They understand our generation gap and gently push against it. My oldest child, Riley, asked me, what did I plan to speak about at today's service? I told her I was going to make myself vulnerable and talk about how I used to be in high school. She said, oh, were you homophobic? And I admitted that, yes, I was. Her response, it's okay, Mom. It's how you are now that matters. The main thing I've come to realize is not that I have a mission to teach the younger generations about being an ally, but that I have a mission to learn. I'm grateful for non-judgmental openness and patience as I find my way to being an all-day, everyday ally. And I'm grateful for our FUSF community where I feel safe to share this story.
And now I invite Sandy Fellows to come forward and share her reflection.
Good morning. You'll probably hear a few of the same thoughts that Caitlin just spoke about. But my question is, how do you ally? And do you show up? For anyone who doesn't know, whether you've been coming here for a while or are relatively new, FUSF is an official welcoming congregation. We publicly and successfully welcome LGBTQIA into our spiritual space, a safe space for individuals and for their families. In the 1980s and 90s, when the word welcoming became a code word for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people, the UUA launched a welcoming congregation program to help us learn how to undo homophobia and transphobia in our hearts and minds, our congregations, and our communities. This program requires a yearly recommitment with a number of programs and services required to be offered. Being an ally is taking a purposeful, thoughtful approach to being in community with one another, developing an intentional relationship with one another, and finding ways to care for others that are rooted in love, respect, integrity, and empathy. Reminds me of our first principle. I was encouraged to speak today when it was pointed out to me that when I joined the Welcoming Congregation Initiative a couple of years ago, unbeknownst to me, I was being an ally. At the time, this committee was going to have to disband because it didn't have the required number of members. I felt strongly about the work they did, so I joined so that they would continue to be a committee here. But also because I personally needed and wanted to be educated and enlightened. There was so much I didn't know. And I was fearful of inadvertently disrespecting or hurting someone. Maybe we are all still learning, trying to understand the experience of others that are different from our own experiences. And this, for me, is an additional challenge to educating myself, a generational one. Unlearning the derogatory connotations of the words I grew up hearing in reference to the gay community. Unlearning what I thought I knew about other people, but also learning the way I should speak and respond to them. The whole movement towards owning and comfort with gender and identification is changing and expanding, and I wanted to be able to keep up. Young people today are becoming so much freer, so much earlier. We need to help them be safe and feel accepted. Because I am white, straight, and cisgender, I have had the privilege of not ever being questioned by a look or an attitude. So I talked with some friends in the gay community to ask their perspective of what it would look like to have an ally and be an ally. Their suggestions: number one, show up. Sharing the use of pronouns, as we do now on our name tags, is important for someone we might be meeting or seeing for the first time. It immediately says to them, you are a safe place. Being open to something or someone different. Learning and using the correct language or terms. Having the courage to say something if you see something. Modeling behavior and words. I asked my daughter, who is also straight and cisgender, as a teacher, what her thoughts were. She personally does not hesitate to use pronouns if appropriate in her classroom whenever she can, and support her students whenever necessary. Speak your truth if someone disagrees with your views. Don't underestimate the value of the ripple effect. Show up. And this was from someone who I highly respect and love. And she said to me, this gives people an opportunity to love bigger. I felt at first about writing this that I would essentially be preaching to the choir. One of the reasons I stayed here as a congregant for the past 11 years and continue to show up, that's my mantra, show up, is because I witnessed from the beginning that this is a congregation that walks its talk. And I have no doubt that we will only get bigger and better at it. In the meantime, while I may not be able to walk a mile in the shoes of someone in the gay community, I will walk beside them whenever I can. Blessed be.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Pam Bellino. I use pronouns she, her, and I'm a member of FUSF's Welcoming Congregation Initiative. And June is LGBTQI+ Pride Month, a month for celebrating the LGBTQI+ community and our achievements. In honor of that, we invite you to make a contribution to the plate giveaway today, which will be donated to the Trevor Project. And the mission of the Trevor Project is to end suicide among lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning young people. Their vision is a world where all LGBTQI+ young people see a bright future for themselves. The Trevor Project provides crisis services, peer counseling, advocacy, research, education, and public awareness. We invite you to make a contribution to this important work this morning during our offering. You can drop the donation in the collection plate today. You can put a check in the mail. Please clarify your donation. Or you can give electronically to the FUSF website. Click on either Give or Breeze at the top of the homepage, then log in, sign up to give through Tithely or Breeze, and select plate giveaway and cover fees if able. Thank you for your generosity.
Are these all that are going to join us, Diana? Okay. Every new member Sunday is an invitation of renewal, new energy, change. Yes, the C word. It's a celebration of both the present and the future, because it's a day when we officially welcome those who have signed the membership book since the last time we celebrated New Member Sunday, which was in May last year. As a covenanted community, when we become members, we agree to live by the promises outlined in our principles and purposes, and we agree to live by the promises set forth in our own affirmation, which we sing every Sunday. On days like today, all of us are reminded of how these promises bind us together in community. People don't join a covenanted community, even though I just said that they do. They are the community. There is no it. There is no community without them, without all of you. And each time a new person is welcomed, the whole is reconstituted. I find this one of the most spiritual and profound and exciting rituals that we do as Unitarian Universalists. So now I want to invite Sandy Fellows to come back up. Sandy is also a member of the Connections Committee, and she will introduce our newest members. And as she says your name, I invite you to please come forward.
Welcome, Alan Aducci. Drew and Karen Bogner. Steve Clark, and shout out to Kathy Coleman on Zoom. She's still recovering from her surgery. Hurry back, Kathy. Eileen Kelleher. Greg Lamb. Ole Peterson. Deb Prudhomme. Aaron and Katie Prunier. Evelyn Rossing. And Nancy Iannuzzi.
Congratulations, everyone. You've been given a gift of a keychain, and I have some words about those keychains. We offer you this keychain you are holding to help you remember your Unitarian Universalist roots. The FUSF symbol is to remind you that love is the spirit of this church. Whenever you leave this space, you carry the love and support of this congregation with you wherever you go. The FUSF symbol is a chalice, emblem of our Unitarian Universalist faith. May you remember that you are part of a wider, bigger spiritual entity. You are not alone. The tree represents the tree of knowledge and our search for truth and meaning wherever it may be found. The peace sign represents our dream to make the world a better, more peaceful place. There are 3 words on your keychain. Hope, that you may find hope to sustain you until we meet again. Fearless, that you may be fearless in your search for truth and affection as best you know them now or may learn them in days to come. That you will feel fearless as you speak to the world in words and actions of peace and goodwill. Inspire, that you may be inspired by all you learn here and everyone you meet here to live your Unitarian Universalist faith with love and compassion. Congratulations.
Because of you, our newest members, this congregation is new all over again. And because we have witnessed your choice to be a part of this community, we too are reminded of all the reasons that we belong to this community of faith. I now invite Lee to lead us in a responsive reading. The response for all of you is, these things bring us together, these things keep us together.
We are here together because we are called to be a part of something larger than ourselves, and because this is a place where we may speak our minds and be our best selves. Never as high or as deep or as wide as we might wish, perhaps, but always we are invited to stretch into that higher, deeper, wider place. These things bring us together. These things keep us together. We are here together because, in relationship, we are encouraged to be more fully our unique selves, and because, as individuals, we are urged to speak our truth with love and to contribute to the common good of the whole community. These things bring us together. These things keep us together. We are here together in our wholeness and brokenness, with our joys and needs to celebrate the triumphs of the human spirit, the miracles of birth and life, to support one another through life's transitions and passages, and to share the wonders of worship and community, ultimately to minister and to be ministered to. These things bring us together. These things keep us together. We are here together to give witness to our life-enhancing values and to live them in our daily lives and to take them out into the world. These things bring us together. These things keep us together.
I am going to ask for a round of applause for our new Please go back to your seats, and I invite everyone to rise as they are able to join in our final hymn. Our final hymn is in the teal hymnal. It's number 1054. This was one of our hymns of the month, so we know it. Right, Michelle? We know it. Let this be a house of peace, number 1054. Fearless and diverse friends, we are all formed by the same particles that make the stars. We all shine brightly so the world can see the beauty of who we are, individually and collectively. Within each of us is a sacred presence that cannot be diminished by others. Let us continue to strengthen one another, enabling hope and love to grow. Go forth, fearless and diverse friends. Show the world what love looks like. Show the world the power of community and faith. Show the world who we are. Please join in our farewell song. The words are, "Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again." We extinguish the flame in our chalice, but not what it represents. The light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share them out in the world. Our worship has ended. Our service to a world that desperately needs our voices continues on. Go with love and go in peace.